The August the 13th, 2024 work session of the Bel Air Board of Town Commissioners is now in session, and I'm going to call the roll. Commissioner Rutledge,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Chance,
Here.
and Commissioner Chismar will not be with us this evening due to a scheduling conflict. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to make the motion that we approve the agenda for this evening's work session meeting, August 13th, 2024.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. Grants?
Yes.
Call for the vote on the approval of this evening's agenda. Commissioner Rutledge.
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor.
Aye.
Commissioner Chance.
Aye.
And Chair Edding.
Aye.
The agenda is approved.
Thank you. And first on our agenda this evening, we have a presentation from the Rockfield Manor renovation project update. That's what we're going to get tonight, with no pictures, I understand.
No, it's in the works. It's in the works. That's why we haven't readied you guys back to Rockfield yet, because we're like, you already seen the current ones. We need to wait for the new ones to come in.
Is this as formal as a meeting? Do I have to give my name and address and all that stuff?
You could give your name and who you are from Rockfield.
Okay.
It's-
Oh, okay. Donna Dickey, Chair of the Rockfield Foundation. So we just kind of wanted to, we're in the middle of wedding season and wine festival season, and our time is going to be really restricted. So we wanted to stop in tonight while it's quiet and just give you a brief update on where we stand with the addition. We're scheduled to still break ground on November 4th, finishing July 1st. That gives our architects and builders a 2-month grace period to get the project finished. We have just about completed our permitting process with the county. Everything's going along as scheduled. We've got one little hurdle to get over now, and that is like the fire suppression system and what's going to be required from the county and what's going to be required from the town. It could be as minimal as just adding more smoke detectors, which we have, but they want smoke detectors that actually communicate with each other. We already have the alarms that go to the fire department. So they're just some hurdles that we have to get over there. And we should be really on the ball to get rolling with it. The other thing is we are still raising our funds, which to date, I just calculated we're at about 1.1 million after the wine festival. We're still waiting. We won't hear about our community legacy grant that we applied with the Bel Air Downtown Alliance. We won't hear about that until I think mid-October is what we heard this week. We did apply for a $300,000 grant with them. We have Stephanie from the town helped us with that, so we greatly appreciate her assistance in that. And then the remaining funds, if we should need them, we are securing right now, looking at funding through a private source, a loan of some sort. But that's basically it. Like I said, before we really got crazy into, as we get closer to that groundbreaking, we'll be finishing up with Wine Festival, and it just gets nutty over there. So we just didn't know if you all had any questions for us.
I don't have a question, but I do want to say that because I serve as liaison on the Rockfield board, that board, the individuals involved in working on this project have done a phenomenal job. It's hard work, it's heavy lifting, to say the least, raising the money, doing all the planning, having it come together. I have to say kudos to your board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we have requested, Kelly has already put a room reservation for the Crines Crisis Center when this is all over for the two of us. So, anyway.
You're not going to need it. You're going to be very happy people.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a terrific addition to your facility over there, or our facility over there, that it'll be so much better. You won't have to be so concerned about the weather, whether it's rain, wind, all that. So it'll be a terrific plus.
Yeah, the storm that came through the other week, we had torrential pouring inside the tent. So, yep.
Yeah,
So that'll be
that's
taken-
really tough, because you can't, it's so unpredictable. You really can't plan for it. And I know people, when they're planning weddings, are concerned about that sort of thing. So it'll be a great thing to be able to cross off the list of concerns, because it's a beautiful property.
Great. Thank you so much. And always thank you for your support between the commissioners and the administrators. Steve Kine usually at least gets a weekly call from one of us. So,
He likes it.
well, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
And good luck with the wine festival.
Thank you.
All right, next, we would have the town administrator's report, but we have no town administrator here. Mr. Krantz, are you going to speak for him in his absence?
No report at the moment,
All
but
right.
happy to accept any questions as needed.
All right, then next we have the tentative agenda for our town meeting on Monday, August the 19th, which will be here in Town Hall at 7 PM. First thing we're going to do is a presentation, a certificate of recognition for Preston Stationery, which I think we have all signed.
I think we're just waiting for one more signature from Commissioner Chismar. But yes, we will have a certificate of recognition to recognize their, I believe it's 98 years in business downtown. The Preston family will be here to accept that certificate. In addition to that, the Department of Commerce also requested to be present at the meeting for an opportunity for them to present a certificate as well, because we are not doing it in the store where they would normally come and do that. We've invited them to come here, so I hope that that meets with your approval, and we're excited to be able to provide them recognition.
I think that'll be terrific. They have been the long-standing stationer in the town of Bel Air and where my wedding invitations came from. So it wasn't the first day that they were in business, but it was a long time ago. And they did a great job. They were beautiful. And that's where everybody went for all of those kinds of things. So I'll be thrilled to see them here on Monday.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? All right, under new business on Monday, we will be discussing Resolution 1235-24, purchase of the property owned by Mount Royal Management on South Outwood Road. Mr. Krantz.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just as a summary of what this resolution is about, there's approximately 0.38 acres of property located within the Wakefield Manor apartment complex, and the town is recommending purchase of it for the purpose of creating an emergency access road, emphasizing emergency access road in connection with the Homestead Wakefield Elementary School project. So the town recognizes the importance of ensuring public safety through the provision of adequate infrastructure, including an access road that would facilitate rapid emergency response. The Harford County Board of Education is currently undertaking a construction project of the new Homestead Wakefield Elementary School, and it's a significant project intended to enhance educational facilities within the community. The creation of a gated emergency access road connecting essentially the Maryland Route 924 Emerton Road with Maryland Route 24 Vietnam Veterans Memorial Highway has been identified as a critical component of the Homestead Wakefield Elementary School project to ensure the safety of students, staff, and residents, again, emphasizing only to provide a direct route for police, fire, EMS, hazmat, other rescue services as needed. So the land, again, is approximately 0.38 acres of land. It's located within the Wakefield Manor apartment complex on South Atwood Road at the intersection of West Smithvale. It is yet to be subdivided out. And it's owned by the Mount Royal Management Company, LLP. And the purchase of this small parcel is essential for this emergency access road. So the town of Bel Air, after a lot of due diligence, including 2 independent appraisals, have negotiated a price of $66,000 with Mount Royal Management Company for the acquisition of this property. And the staff recommends that the commissioners vote to approve this on Monday.
I know this has been a long-running saga, and I'll be glad to see it ending with the provision of emergency access, particularly for the school, the students, everyone that's there on the staff. It'll be a terrific plus to that property to have that available. Anybody else have any questions or anything? Okay. And then after that, we will have the Resolution 1236-24, accepting the amended civilian employees pension plan language, revising Article 1, the definition, Section 1.39G, and adding Article 1 definition, Section 1.39H, years of service determination for those with active town sworn police officer service who are hired as a civilian employee in the town of Bel Air. And then I would put the two together, Resolution 1237-24, accepting the amended sworn officers pension plan language, doing the same thing if you're an active police officer hired as a civilian employee. Or are they both, it looks like, yeah. All right, go ahead, Mr. Krantz. I know you're going to explain that.
Thank you. Yes, we should combine them for explanation purposes this evening, 1236 as well as 1237-24. Essentially, the Board of Trustees of the Civilian Employees Pension Plan, as well as the Board of Trustees of the Sworn Officers Pension Plan, met on August 7th and voted to amend the plan language in Article 1 definitions, Section 1.39 years of service, to revise those sections and making provisions for active Town of Bel Air sworn police officers who are hired as civilians to transfer their pension benefits from the sworn plan to the civilian plan. Language already existed for the transfer of from civilian to sworn, but it didn't from sworn to civilian. And the way the plan documents are written, those provisions are repeated in each plan to reference each other. So that's why we have two resolutions, almost of the exact same wording. So essentially, the reason behind this is there's a sworn police officer that was recently accepted a civilian position within our organization. This officer had not yet reached retirement age and wishes to continue working in a civilian capacity. To support this officer and any future employees who may find themselves in a similar circumstance, it is essential that our pension plans provide the flexibility to transfer these benefits seamlessly. This change will not only benefit the individual, but also ensure our organization retains experienced and dedicated employees. There is some language in the current plan that talks about automatic transfers. The Board of Trustees for both the sworn and the civilian voted to remove language to automatic transfers and giving the employees the choice to transfer or remain vested in a deferred pension benefit and start anew in the plan in the case of job changes from sworn to civilian or vice versa. And the trustees believe these amendments are in their best interests. They have already voted and approved language on August 7th, and one of the protocols in the plan document is to put it before the Board of Commissioners for acknowledgement and acceptance, not necessarily to amend or review the language. And it helps us from a part of a historical perspective as well, too, to keep an archive of the changes of such an extremely important document, which is our pension plan.
So did an actuary run the numbers on this and make sure it's like still going to be a plan that's funded appropriately?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is the first time we've actually had a sworn officer accept the civilian position. And that individual was very concerned about what should they do with their pension, and to, my first assumption was it's going to be in their best interest to transfer their service time as well as their monies into the civilian plan, because the plan allows for an increase in the pension benefit multiplier with years of service. And if that person allowed their service and their benefits to be essentially frozen at the time when they change jobs and then start anew in the civilian plan, they would be starting at a lower multiplier. So this allows them to get those benefits as they increase in their years of service. So yes, the actuary did run the numbers.
Okay.
And they found that it was a few $100s in the individual's favor to switch the plans.
But
And-
the plan's still healthy. That was, with this change, the plan's still healthy. That
Oh,
was
this
my-
has minimal impact on
Okay.
either one of the sworn or civilian plan. Yes, there's still a vested balance in the mid to upper 80s.
And of course, this only occurs if somebody qualifies for and accepts a job in the civilian side as opposed to the police side.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Those were the only questions that I had.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right. Next, we have the purchase of 14 personal computers and 3 laptops. Mr. Krantz, you're just working very hard tonight.
Thank you, Madam
You're
Chair.
everybody.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The technology department definitely follows a proactive approach to maintaining and upgrading its computers. This year, as part of its standard 5-year replacement schedule, they're requesting to purchase 4 desktops and 3 laptops in the amount of that $19,050.36. If you have any questions, it'll be piggybacked on the Midwestern Higher Education competitively bid contract, which our procurement policy allows us to go through, and that's with Dell Marketing LLP. So that will be before you for a vote on Monday.
Any questions?
Mr. Krantz, just if anybody was hearing about this for the first time, this is same topics that we discussed during our budgetary process.
Yes, sir.
And so we looked at, projected numbers, et cetera, then, and so now you're looking to actually approve the acquisition contracts. That's what you're going to be asking us, to do.
Yes, sir. You yourself, as well as the other commissioners, approved the budget back in May, and we're just now getting the contracts together, and we're bringing it before you because Dell, we've purchased enough products and services through Dell that were over the $25,000 mark. So you may see us bring additional Dell purchases before you throughout this fiscal year, just to ensure that we're complying with the procurement protocols that require competitively bid purchase price.
So the number of the personal computers, how many of those?
14.
14. Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you.
Any further questions for Mr. Krantz about the 14 computers and the 3 laptops? All right, then we have the purchase of 8 hard drives for the technology department servers. Mr. Krantz.
Yep, thank you, Madam Chair. The hard drives go in conjunction with the servers that you approved at the last town hall meeting. Unfortunately, insufficient hard drive space in the current configuration is the result of this request. The 2 new servers were unintentionally purchased with inadequate hard drive space, so the storage capacity currently available in these servers does not meet the requirements necessary for the organization's operations. But luckily, there's empty slots, so the need for increased storage capacity. So to run our virtual desktops and servers efficiently, we need to expand the storage capacity of these servers, and the additional hard drives will provide the necessary space to handle our current and anticipated data demands. And it just goes to operational efficiency and effectiveness to make sure that our IT department has the necessary infrastructure to support daily operations. So it was a procurement error on my part to not order sufficient hard drive space, and this will be what we need just to insert the hard drives into it and get it up and running.
Well, I'm glad there's extra spaces. That's
Yes.
good.
Yes.
All right. Anyone have any questions for Mike about this one? Okay. In that case, the
Okay.
next thing on our agenda was the purchase of 110 multi-protocol authentication security keys for police department computers, but my understanding that is not ready to go, and so it's not going to be on our agenda for Monday.
It's actually withdrawn
Withdrawn.
because we've learned that the state is going to help us with providing security keys because the Maryland Electronic Telecommunication Enforcement Resources System, often referred to as meters, is state-run, and they're going to aid us with procurement of some of these security keys, and we may have to buy just a minimal amount.
Terrific news for the budget, for sure. All right. Next, we have the Thomas Street Revitalization Phase 1 and 2 contract. Kevin.
I'm going to defer to Steve since
All
he's the
right.
construction guy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Steve Klein, Director of Public Works. And I do want to reference that Kevin can help answer questions if they do come up. Kevin was really involved in the planning of this and working with the various groups in the community to get it off the ground. And Like I said, several years ago, the Economic and Community Development Commission targeted Thomas Street as a revitalization project. They worked for several years. They've gotten together with the neighborhood. They came together with a plan, and I'm happy now that we were able to put the plan on paper through Architectural Services. And we put out a bid several weeks ago, and we got a good number to do a good portion of the project. So we would like your approval to move forward with basically the Thomas Street aspect of the project, and that would be from Bond Street all the way to Kelly Avenue. The total project that I would like to get permission or approval for you on Monday evening is a project not to exceed $1.1 million. Majority of the funding will come from the American Rescue Plan Act. The additional funds necessary to complete the project, $210,000, will be funded through the capital reserve. The low bidder, Ivy Hill, was approximately $450,000 less than the next highest bidder. So we've talked to them, and they feel very confident they will be able to give us a great project. So I feel that it's a win-win for the town that we're going to get this project that we've been working on for so many years and bring it to fruition. So I think it's going to really enhance the neighborhood over there along Thomas Street. Is there any questions?
I will add that we've had 3 separate public meetings, and one of them was when I was still working in the private sector. So that tells you how long we've been working on this project.
It's like that slow and steady wins the race, I guess.
Exactly.
It's eventually going to happen. Well, that's terrific. And to hear that it's $450,000 less than the next highest bidder is just amazing, so.
Yeah, it's a good time to go ahead and get the project done.
All right. No further questions on that. Next up is the Leaf vacuum truck purchase. Steve.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Steve Klein, once again, Director of Public Works. We'd like to replace old unit number 30, which is a 2002 International Leaf Vac truck with over 130,000 miles. The engine is wearing significantly, and it's leaking oil fairly badly. The cost of the Leaf Vac is $195,000. If you can believe it, it went up almost $25,000 since we bought the last one in 2021. So things are inflating quite considerably. But this is something that we utilize in the fall every year. We have 2 Leaf Vac trucks that we go through October 1st through the end of December, with 1 additional week that we collect leaves in April. It's a very good service that the town provides to its residents, and it helps us with stormwater management and the cleanliness of the town. So we would like your approval to procure this new 2022 Freightliner Leaf Vac Plus. And it's through Elkton, and the means of procurement is through a blanket purchase order with the state of Maryland.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions? No. Fall is coming, so I'll be looking forward to that leaf truck
Yeah.
coming around and
I
vacuuming
can,
up
I
all
can
my
add that
leaves.
the chassis of this, probably about 10 years ago, we took a trash truck body off of the chassis, repainted the chassis real nice, and put the old Leaf Vac that still had some years in it on top of that chassis, and we're able to utilize it for another 10 years. So the truck has really met its obligations to the town. So hopefully we'll be able to get a nice price at the auction for it too, because it's still a nice piece of equipment, and there's a lot of leaf companies out there that need something like this. So
All right.
thank you.
Any questions? Nope. All right. Back to Mr. Krantz, reappointment to the Board of Ethics.
We can discuss this in the closed session.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the staffing update. Again, Mr. Krantz.
Yep, thank you. Michael Kranz, Director of Administration. Staffing, we have 2 positions posted online at the moment, a logistics and certification specialist in our police department, which is someone that we're seeking to keep track of all our training requirements that the state as well as our local policies require of us, and as well as somebody who is, I would say, experienced in firearms training, as well as supervisory skills and even some command level experience would be preferred, because it's such a integral position with the town of Bel Air. It is a civilian position, I'd like to emphasize. It is not a sworn officer position, and that's a change since the passing of Officer Zach Miller. So we've had to restructure that position a little bit, but it is now posted online and actively accepting applicants. Chief, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, Chief Moore, Bel Air Police Department, all I can add is that the officer position is moving to patrol to help us out on the street. And this is something that we did discuss during the budget session. Can you hear me?
I think you need to speak a little
Oh.
more directly, and is it on?
Oh,
It's
there we
like-
go.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you.
Oh, there we go. And it is on. But this position will be moved to patrol, as we discussed at the budget session, so it will help us out there. It's added another person there, so I think it's going to be a good thing.
I do recall that you were restructuring a little bit.
Yes,
and-
ma'am.
And converting one to that job sort of to a civilian, but retaining
Yes.
that position in patrol, so.
It's a better allocation of the resources, so, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And we also have an accounts payable accountant that we're actively recruiting for at the moment. I think we've had a few interviews, and we're still narrowing down the list to our top couple candidates for our Director of Finance to select from and recommend. And that's it.
All right.
Mr. Krantz, I have two points to make. The first is actually directed at Director Klein. Did we get a chance to reach out to Mr. Labella regarding his reappointment to the Board of Building Appeals?
I have not done that.
Okay. So his appointment expires, I think that says Thursday. So if we could get an answer from him, maybe we can reappoint him at the next cycle, just to make sure that seat doesn't fall vacant.
Sure.
And then I did reach out to Tucker McNulty about his reappointment to ECDC. He's in. He should have sent his form to the administration department today. If-
Okay.
So if we could put that on the agenda for our August 27th work session, and then reappointment on September 3rd, I believe, is that
Okay.
next board meeting, and then everyone else looks like they've got a little bit of time left on them, but that should take us through the 3 vacancies coming up.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anything further under the topic of staffing update? No? All right, then we have the calendar. We all got a new one, so we can take a look at that and make sure that it agrees with what we think we're doing and meeting. And I know on that calendar, we've got tomorrow is the 10 a.m. ribbon cutting at JP Morgan Chase Bank, and then there's a ribbon cutting on Thursday at 4 o'clock for the Little Haven on Main. That should be this week's business. Anything further for the calendar?
I know that it's on your calendar, but I just to make sure, because I just was notified today, the applicant withdrew from the Planning Commission that had put together a special meeting in August, but evidently when they got my staff report, they didn't want to go forward. So that is, the Planning Commission will not meet on Thursday. Also, we did not receive any submissions for September, so that's also canceled. And one thing that's not been noted on the calendar is Board of Appeals is canceled for this month on the 20th. But we have a submission for next month, first time in several months, so.
All right, well, I think all except the 20th were actually already updated on this calendar, but the
Yes.
20th, the Board of Appeals does appear, but it is not going to occur.
Right.
And then we'll see about September.
September 5th, Planning Commission is
Is
canceled.
already
this
canceled,
time,
and that is
but
on the calendar as
Board of Appeals
well.
will happen in September.
Okay, all right.
Got it. Thank you.
And we will move on to miscellaneous, the Complete Streets Leadership Academy, Gordon, Main, Bond Street intersection, the Quick Build Road Safety Improvement Demonstration. Kevin?
Yes. we're actually going down to meet with the group tomorrow and Thursday. To kind of bring you up to speed, the Complete Streets Leadership Academy is basically 3 towns that are doing improvements to one particular area or intersection that has been a problem for years, and that intersection is typically state highway oriented. So state highway is very heavily involved, and all of this is run by Smart Growth America. So Smart Growth America is providing the grant money for these projects to happen. The Complete Streets is a temporary demonstration project. That project will last approximately 3 months. We anticipate that hopefully I think Steve indicated that, or Charlie Dawson indicated that we should get all the materials either today or tomorrow. State Highway will come by, pick them up, and they'll immediately install them. They will be installing them at night. So you'll go to sleep one night, and then they will appear there the next morning. The intersection that's being improved or changed is the intersection of Gordon and Bond/Main Street. If you've ever gone through that intersection, it's very confusing. It's not exactly pedestrian friendly. So this team of State Highway, Smart Growth America, and these other communities have kind of gotten together and come up with changes. Those changes have the folks that we consider as somewhat stakeholders have been notified twice. And especially that goes to the Bel Air Elementary School, which is, I think, probably the most affected. But also Bel Air Academy, ShopRite, some of the ones that are around that intersection. We anticipate that once this work will be done at the end of this week or beginning of next. It will be there for 3 months. We're hoping to get a lot of comments. I'm sure not all of them will be positive. The big change to the intersection is eliminating the left turn from southbound Main Street, moving on to eastbound Gordon. We couldn't really eliminate the other left turn because that goes to Liriodendron, and a lot of mapping devices and everything else take you that street that way. So, but hopefully this will help with the pedestrians. The other big change is we are installing what they call speed cushions at both approaches. And these speed cushions are kind of like temporary speed humps that can be drilled or adhered to the surface, and they'll be pulled up before it snows. And so during this time, we'll be collecting data. Are the cars slowing down? Are they? Is there near misses? We're also going to be talking to like the parents who are walking their kids to school. Folks from planning department will be stationed there at the beginning of at that intersection at the beginning of school to kind of get people's comments. We're also going to talk to the principal of Bel Air Elementary, make sure that we hand out some flyers so that they can make comments if they have an issue. So during this time, we'll collect all that information and decide whether or not those temporary measures can come back as permanent measures. Some of the items will stay permanent. A lot of the striping, all the crosswalks, which have already been put in because they were just put in a few weeks ago. And then we'll decide how to move forward. So hopefully we can use this demonstration project to be able to learn from it, especially how it relates to this intersection, but also the next one that we're anticipating looking at is the one where Kenmore meets Main Street and where Linwood also meets Main Street. Another confusing intersection, another intersection used a lot by pedestrians. We're hoping to start the process to do a demonstration project there too. That will be years away. Any questions?
No. Hope it works.
Yeah, Madam Chair, my one comment is this particular intersection is one that, you know, I've heard over, you know, the last 9 months from people that they wanted something done with it. So I congratulate the process for the work you're doing on it, and I understand, you know, state's highways got a lot to do with it, but thank you very much for the excellent explanation. I have to personally confess that I have used the left-hand turn into Gordon. That thing is hairy, and I think I used it 2 or 3 times and said, man, that was enough, you know, and it's a freaky little intersection in the way that kind of works. So as for me, I won't be too sorry to see if it ultimately is agreed upon to eliminate that tight little left-hand turn right there at, you know, people pulling out of ShopRite, people pulling out of First National Bank drive-through. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and that wasn't even during school hours. So, you know, so I think it's great that this is the first intersection to tackle, and of course the other intersection that you mentioned, everyone, you know, it's definitely another serious one. So I think it's going to be a good project, and I know the feedback, I'm sure, will be quite a variety.
Yeah, this actually started as part of Safe Streets for All.
Mm-hmm.
When we had the community input meeting, we had State Highway there. And a lot of the parents and a lot of the citizens kind of cornered him and cornered me and said, this is the intersection we want to have changed. And so we're hoping that result is something that's beneficial.
I will try to pay attention.
Yeah. I'd like to add, Commissioner Rutledge, I have never once in my 5 years as a licensed driver taken that left-hand turn onto Gordon Street. And so the point that I'm illustrating with that is I think that the town stands to benefit a lot more than we stand to lose by taking away that left-hand turn, simply because there are so much better, safer ways to get onto Gordon Street from southbound Maine, namely, you know, Broadway and around. So I have faith that this will be received well on the aggregate.
One aside that Chief Moore and I were talking about is that the detour around this intersection is Broadway to Franklin. And if you've ever gone down Franklin, you have parking on both sides, which you're basically weaving in between cars. So we're looking at putting a temporary measure where you only have parking on one side. We've actually had citizens make that request, and this is something that I think is pushing that up to the top. And then we'll see how that works and taking it to you as a permanent measure, if that makes sense.
What I kind of like about this project is it's temporary, so you can see what bugs it causes.
Right.
You know, what the unintended side effects are, and then straighten those out before everybody commits to a plan where you really expend a lot more money to make it permanent. I think it's a great way to try it out and see how it works.
Kevin, are we definitely going out on social media and requesting feedback, both positive and negative, or positive feedback on it?
Yeah.
I did receive the materials from Kevin, and I'll put something on social media.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can participate in the meeting with Safe Streets or with the Smart Book tomorrow.
If you want to go down to Howard County, you're in good shape.
Oh, that's an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, our partners for this, as far as the other, is Hagerstown. They have a problem intersection, and Howard County. And I think Laurel, I believe.
That information, actually, the Complete Streets Leadership Academy, CSLA, the Gordon and Main Bond Street intersection quick build road safety improvement demonstration, it is currently posted on the website, and we're looking to put a spotlight summary or story of it on the home page. So if you go to it now, you'd have to click on the planning department, and then you can log on to it and read it. And there's a ton of pictures about what the proposal looks like, what it's going to look like, and it's done in the format of a blog post. So there's been 2 entries now, and it gives citizens the opportunity to post a comment right there. So a citizen can begin to comment now if they'd like to. And of course, when it goes on social media, we may end up seeing comments on Facebook or Instagram, as well as on our website. But I think we would encourage and prefer the comments to be on the website, but we might not be able to control that.
Yeah. I mean, in all seriousness, positive feedback, a bunch of positive feedback will go a long way to showing that the project is vital or hopefully that's what we get.
So if it goes on the police department page, there's a pretty lively crowd on there. We're going to have to monitor the comments on there frequently, and maybe add some counter comments, just a consideration. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, social
Yeah.
media, you're never sure what you're going to get.
No, you're not.
And we'd prefer to have it more on the website, but you still might get some off-color comments even there as well too, but we'll weed through those as they come in. But hopefully we do get a lot of support for it because it sounds like it's a needed project.
I have to say that just the other day, I'm driving on Main going toward Broadway and watching this gentleman, and it wasn't a woman driver, I would like to say that, pull out of Gordon Street and turn left to go on South Bond, or on Bond Street. It was very interesting to watch.
Our group did field visits to all 3 locations. And Bel Air, when we were out there, a woman, woman, went straight through from East Gordon to West Gordon, using the turning lane in the wrong direction.
Ooh.
And, and everybody was like just watching it, watching it happen. And that, I think, occurs more often than not. I think the one thing that people were trying to get rid of is the U-turn, but they saw that a lot of people use it, and so that stayed. And the big thing is that there is a flyer at the donut shop for Newberry because everybody seemed to go there when they were making that turn.
All right, and now we are at commissioners' comments. My comment is to Mr. Klein on the storm cleanup last week, which seemed to go pretty darn fast. The roads didn't have any trees or limbs or anything else that was impeding traffic. And you weren't here for the meeting that we had after the 4th of July. Charlie Dawson was, so I wanted to repeat this. But I was really impressed with the guys at DPW who did the 4th of July, then came in early the next day. It picked up the trash. Then they had First Fridays. I mean, they really were working hard that weekend. So congratulations to you all. It was a great job, and I just wanted to mention that since you weren't at the meeting when I did mention it, but to Charlie.
I just wanted to take a moment to commend the local Boy Scout troop in Bel Air, Troop 777, for producing 8 new Eagle Scouts. I was honored to represent the town with Commissioner Chance, and it was really something. The sheriff who was in attendance and mentioned that he'd been doing these ceremonies for 20 years, so that it was a personal record for him. Might be a personal record for Harford County, but to have 8 Eagle Scouts all at once, all who attained the rank of Eagle within 4 to 6 months of each other, so they came up together. I think it bodes well for the community. It's always good to see young people who are taking an active role in both service and leadership. And so my hat's off to them, and I think that our community is in good shape with those 8 freshly minted Eagle Scouts out in the community climbing even more mountains.
That troop is a powerhouse. They produce more Eagle Scouts than I've ever seen any troop produce. It's amazing.
Harford County has always had more Eagle Scouts than any other county in the state. So, and Sunday was Saturday. Yeah, I was going to say that wasn't right. Saturday was very impressive, very impressive.
All right. Any other commissioners' comments? No? In that case, do I have a motion to move us into closed session?
Yes, Madam Chair. I move that this meeting will be closed under the provisions of the Maryland Open Meetings Act, General Provisions, Article 3, Section 305B1, Article 3, Section 305B2, and Article 3, Section 305B7. The topics of discussion will be to discuss the appointment of officials to the Board of Ethics and to discuss the Town of Bel Air Annual Award Selection, Citizens of the Year, and Business of the Year, and to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice regarding the Barton Boat et al. V. Town of Bel Air, Maryland case. The reason for closed session discussion of the above topics will be because public discussion of candidates' names, qualifications, experience, and background could discourage people from volunteering for public service or compromise their privacy rights, and because public discussion of nominees would compromise the confidentiality of the selection process, and because public discussion of the confidential information and/or legal strategies can compromise the attorney-client privilege and inhibit the ability of the public body to receive candid and uninhibited legal guidance.
I second that.
Thank you. Mr. Krantz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is for the vote to go into closed session. Commissioner Rutledge,
Aye.
Commissioner Taylor,
Aye.
Commissioner Chance,
Aye.
and Chair Edding.
Aye.
The meeting is now going into closed session, and if I may, I do not believe we're going to come back into open session to discuss any fresh business, so the live stream will be ending.
You
that
are
correct?
correct, Mr.
Okay.
Krantz. We will not be conducting any further business after our closed session.
Okay. Thank you.